But also the point was to ask any mums on here, what would be the things that you could not do without? In particular, I'm looking at breast pumps, baby carriers, so any recommendations for those would be amazing.
So I thought this would be very appropriate to give you my best mum purchases while fully looking like a mum. Look at the state of me. So in response, because you do not get enough characters to type on TikTok, but my go-to things are a Haka silicone breast pump. They are phenomenal for gathering up your letdown and being able to build a freezer stash. If you're going to be breastfeeding, which I think you are, I think you've asked about breastfeeding, you need to learn about 4th trimester, cluster feeding, and feeding cues, and also terminologies like the letdown, or how to look for mouth ties, like lip ties, tongue ties especially. Those sort of things, if you know before you start your breastfeeding journey, you're going to be so much more successful in it. These are things that I didn't know much about in my first breastfeeding experience with my eldest now, who's 16. I only lasted for 5.5 months, and after only 2 or 3 months I was combi feeding. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what a letdown was. I didn't know about cluster feeding. In my brain, I was told, he'll feed every sort of 2 to 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. So I did that. So I didn't understand what feeding cues were, and he was showing me he was hungry, and I didn't know how to read the baby basically. So I would definitely learn those things if you want to breastfeed. Also, I'd look into co-sleeping, because as a breastfeeding mum, it is so much easier at bedtime if you've got a side carry cot. It's called a next to me, and if you can just put baby lie on your side, it's called a C-shaped sleep, following this Safe Sleep 7 for co-sleeping with a baby, and breastfeeding on the side, literally just sliding your baby into their bed when they're sleeping. Or like me, I bed shared, so I did try co-sleeping, where that's where they sleep in the same room as you or right next to you, in the next to me in their own bed space. But I just slept with mine in the bed. It was so much easier. I got so much more sleep breastfeeding that way, whereas with my firstborn it was no, he has to sleep in a Moses basket. So I was sitting up at night to breastfeed, exhausted, trying to keep myself awake, to then put him down to get him settled to go back to sleep. Then with my younger two, I was I'm going to go with what's natural. Pop them on the boob, would fall asleep in bed with them, following the Safe Sleep 7, and I got so much more sleep, and it made for such a better journey, such a better rested mum. I fed on demand, so I wasn't pumping out for the babies. I just fed them from my breast on demand whenever they wanted. Yes, it's tiring. Yes, you're taking a lot of the load, and dad's not really able to help out as much unless you want that, but for me it just worked. I just listened to my body, and that's what worked for me. So I would definitely research the things that I've mentioned. And in terms of things like night lights, etc., if you've got an ensuite, put your bathroom light on a little bit, leave the door open. Or in my room for my babies, I just enjoyed having a salt lamp on if they needed it for nighttime. I never really would pump during the nighttime. If you are going to pump, you need to remember that if you're breastfeeding and someone else gives a bottle, you still have to pump for that feed that someone else is feeding baby. So at night time, if dad's going to bottle feed during the night, you still have to wake up to pump while the baby's feeding, so that your body knows to keep producing milk. Otherwise you get into what's called the top-up trap, and because your baby's getting topped up with milk from the bottle, you're losing your supply, because your body realizes, well, I'm not needed to create milk at this point because baby's not feeding from me. So you're gonna have to really look into different all the things about breastfeeding. There's loads of breastfeeding support groups on another social media platform. There's amazing breastfeeding support groups. Get in them now. You don't have to be actively feeding. You can go on there, you can say, I'm due a baby at this time, I plan to breastfeed, can you please tell me what I need to know, what's your tips, what's your tricks, what do I need to know? And they are fantastic. A great thing I will tell you is, when your baby's first born, I've mentioned looking into the 4th trimester, babies don't realise that they're separate beings from your body yet, so they do want to be held all the time. So just to make life easier, baby wear. So look into baby wearing. I did it. I had my babies in the baby carriers constantly. I used the baby box thing. I don't know if you guys get that. I think it's a Scotland thing, but it's just a cloth, like a wrap. And I had my babies attached to me literally 24/7. It was tiring, but it made life so much easier. And you can breastfeed in them. You can get your housework done while baby's attached to you. It's great. I would recommend a Tula carrier. You can buy them pre-loved on popular auction sites, and also vinted, if you're allowed to say that here. The Tula baby carrier is like the creme de la creme in my opinion. You also get baby wearing Facebook, I'm not allowed to say that, other baby wearing social media pages for support, which is great. I highly recommend joining all these groups first before baby comes, so that you know everything you need to know. But you're going to be amazing, and it's awesome that you're already looking for tips and tricks and stuff from other mums, because this is where we learn best from our village. It takes a village to raise a child, and our village is online nowadays, so let's utilize it, tap into it, and give all the baby advice.